Hello, everyone, and welcome now as we are on day 30, reading the 40 chapters of Exodus through the 40 days of Lent. And now, here on day 30, we are 3/4 of the way through this book. And so, for those that have remained committed, your sacrifice has hopefully been worth it and rewarded. And so it's the continuing narrative of highlighting the tabernacle, its dimensions, specifications, vessels, furniture, instruments, then the priest, as well as the very specifics regarding their offerings. And now we move into we continue with this. There is within the temple, the priests are going to perform a variety of functions. One thing here, the first thing is an altar for the burning of incense. There is we discussed this yesterday. There's a variety of things which serve as a reminder to the community. And in fact, if you missed yesterday's video, the second half of that video is very important for all of this tabernacle and priesthood scene, and so it's very important. You might want to go back and look at that, the necessity of having reminders, not just visible reminders, but here the incense that is going to burn is a certain it activates another engages another portion of our bodily senses, and that is the sense of smell, and that is placed there within the before they get to the where the ark of the covenant is, and this is burned every morning while the priest is attending to the lamps. And so, again, here that the priest is going to be reminded of the sacred work that they do. In verse 9, do not offer alien incense on it. There's a certain incense that has to be offered. The specifications aren't that other forms of the incense are bad, but yet it's a very deliberate, every action is going to be deliberate in the case of the tabernacle and the work to be done. Without a deliberate protocol, then any of it could be taken carelessly, lightly, or for granted. Then there is going to be a system of support for this institution of the tabernacle, a census taken of the collective, the individuals, a certain money or a taxation really that is assessed, that is going to go toward supporting this organization. And in fact, all the various where do they get all of this gold from, and everything, that if you've been reading the text, you'll see that there is so much is gold plated. Maybe there was more access to gold later on when Solomon constructed the temple. But here in the more primitive organization of the people, remember they left Egypt with a noticeable amount of loot, given that they were leaving as slaves, liberated slaves nonetheless. And so this gold and these various elements toward the construct, and there's copper and silver, is going to have to come from the people. It's going to be part of the loot. That's something that I haven't addressed at this point, and considered at some point it would be worth addressing, as well as the various many things that have been listed to use here. The collective, each of them are going to have to sacrifice in order to support this organization. Moreover, they're going to be assessed a tax, as it were, to continue its operation. That they're each going to have a vestment, an ownership, a stake in this, as it were. because it's there to serve the community. And in fact, at the conclusion of the chapter, there's a certain oils that are used, there's certain herbs that are used, but yet it's not to be touched by any individual. These certain things, if people even try to smell some of this, that they're going to be exiled. Again, what we find with all of these echoes and repetitions is that the institution of worship is to be taken very seriously and deliberately and not casually. Where the resting place of God is, where he meets his creation here in this tabernacle, everything is designed to reinforce how important it is. And I'll have to say this in closing, that even if it's a reminder on the heels of yesterday, I believe that this, a certain extent, to a degree, is how we ought to view many things around us. In the Christian paradigm, it's clear the Holy Spirit is dispersed. The church is the new temple, the new tabernacle, the meeting place of the heavens and the earth. And so everything that we do as the church is to be with intentionality, is to be done with purpose and function, and nothing to be done lightly. If there's any kind of contemporary homiletical application to glean from this, I believe that it is that. All right, thank you for joining with me. You had a long video yesterday. Today, this one is shorter and helps keep the average at about 10 minutes. I will meet you again tomorrow as we continue forward in our now final quarter of this book.